Welcome to Is It Any Good? I'm Cliff Chance. With this with this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the movies I've seen so far this year. Let's talk about some of the disappointments, the surprises, the movies that I thought were the best, and the movies that I thought were the worst. First off, we'll start with a couple of the disappointments. Glass is the first one. This movie made my anticipated movies list, and it was, I'm not going to say it was bad. It did fall apart in the third act for me. It made it to where it could have been a really, really bad movie, but I really enjoyed the first two acts of the movie. Each act, the first two, had kind of brought on the same tone as the two predecessor movies, Unbreakable and Split. I think the first act seemed like a sequel to Unbreakable, and the second act kind of went into the psychology of people that think they're superheroes, kind of like Split did with dealing with him with his the villain of the movie with his split personality. But it did completely fall apart. And the third act, it had no idea what kind of movie it wanted to be. I felt like the score never really worked well with this movie, in my opinion. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. Captain Marvel is another disappointment. I'm sure I'll get some hate for this. I didn't hate this movie. I actually enjoyed a good bit of it. Samuel L. Jackson was great in it. Ben Mendelsohn as the quote-unquote villain in this movie was fantastic. It was just not the lead-in I wanted for Endgame. It was very, I'm not gonna say downplayed. It didn't give me the excitement I wanted for her to become Captain Marvel in Endgame. Like I said, I didn't hate it, and I'll be buying it when it comes out on Blu-ray. A couple of surprises for me. Now, this one made my anticipated movies list, so to call it a surprise is a little shocking, but I did enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would, and that's Shazam. Thought it was a very well done DC movie. It stayed very true to the character that it was portraying. Zachary Levi did a fantastic job playing a 15-year-old kid trapped in a grown-up superhero body. It was just a lot of fun. There was only one part towards the end that I kind of wish they had waited for a sequel to do. I mean, I wanted to see this thing happen. I just didn't want to see it happen in this movie. Another one that actually really surprised me, and I'm a little shocked at how much I enjoyed it when I saw it in theaters, was Alita Battle Angel. Thought Christoph Waltz was great in his role in it. The girl, I can't remember her name, that played the main character, Alita, she did fantastic. The Jennifer Connelly crush you had as a child still holds up. She was great in the movie. The only thing I really didn't like about the movie was the love aspect. And the guy that played the boyfriend in the movie, I thought he was terrible in it, and that whole aspect kind of took you away from the story of the movie. The fight scenes in it were great, but I went to this movie expecting it to be bad, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Now let's go into the worst. If you watched the last review, you probably already guessed which one it is. It's Hellboy. This movie was nothing what I expected it. I think it was on my anticipated movies list too, and I left that theater. The movie couldn't end fast enough for me. Jokes didn't land. The acting was terrible. I enjoyed one character in the movie. I enjoyed him for about half of the movie, Hellboy, but he just, and even by the end, I was just like, I don't care about any of these characters except for one, maybe. Okay, well, done with the worst. Now let's the best for me. First one is Us. I really enjoyed this movie. With the plot holes towards the end don't hurt this movie as much as I was. Whenever I started thinking about it, I was like, yeah, you know what? The movie still told a great story. It kept me on the edge of my seat. The acting in it was phenomenal. Lupita, I'm not even going to try to say her last name, was great, and everybody did great playing these dueling roles. The regular family and this evil family from down below. It's just a fun movie. Kept me on the edge of my seats. The gore wasn't over the top. It was a decent horror movie. So go check that one out for sure. And then my favorite movie so far this year was How to Train Your Dragon 3. I've loved all these movies since the first one. The first one's the best 3D movie I've ever seen. I mentioned that in my review of How to Train Your Dragon 3. But this movie was fun. The animation was amazing. The water and the sand in the movie, just like the amount of detail they put into the animation was great. Everybody played their role perfectly, just as they've always done throughout all three of these movies. My only complaint was they replaced T.J. Miller as the voice of, I can't remember if it's Tough Nut or Rough Nut, which one of the twins, and they gave him more lines, and he just did not. It did not feel the same for me as listening to T.J. Miller portray this character. But that's the only complaint I had about the movie. Other than that, it was a fantastic animated movie that wrapped up this series very well. Um, but so far this year for movies, on my anticipated movies list, I've seen 4, and right now we're at about 50-50. I've liked 2, and I have been disappointed with 2. So hopefully that will change, and I'll start enjoying some more of these anticipated movies that I had on my list. But let me know what you guys have thought about the movie so far you have seen. Comment below. Don't be a douche though. And subscribe to the channel. It's Is It Any Good? And I'm Cliff Jantz. Thank you.